Genghis Khan's childhood name was Temujin. His family was particularly miserable. When he was 9 years old, his father was poisoned to death. The tribe abandoned their family. He, his mother, and his siblings could only fend for themselves on the steppe. At a young age, he had to hunt for food. Otherwise, the whole family would starve. When he was 14, Temujin managed to catch a fish to bring home. But his half-brother, Behter, snatched it. And he ate it all himself. Temujin was furious. Without a second thought, he shot an arrow through Behter's back, killing him instantly. This wasn't just because the fish was stolen. Behter was his mother's favorite son. By killing him, Temujin wanted the whole family to know that he was now in charge. By the time Genghis Khan died, his empire was frighteningly vast. It stretched from China all the way to Europe. Before he died, he gave an order. His tomb must be kept absolutely secret. No one could know where it was. How was it hidden? He had the funeral procession kill everyone they met along the way. Anyone they saw was silenced. After the burial, the soldiers who buried him had just returned when they were killed by another group of soldiers. Some say these soldiers eventually committed suicide themselves. In any case, everyone who knew the location of the tomb did not survive. Genghis Khan died, and he took so many people with him. But in 1218, Genghis Khan sent a trade caravan of 450 people to Khwarezm. They brought a lot of gold, silver, and treasures. But the local governor, Inalchuk, accused them of being spies, killed them all, and they stole everything. When Genghis Khan found out, he was enraged. His own brother died for eating his fish. Imagine how he'd react to hundreds of his men being killed. He personally led his army and he destroyed Khwarezm, killing over 10 million people. As for Inalchuk, Genghis Khan wouldn't let him die an easy death. First, he was tortured extensively. Finally, molten silver was poured into his eyes and ears. Some books say his entire body was covered in molten silver, scalding him to death. When the Mongols first started their wars, their biggest headache was sieging cities. The walls of the Jin dynasty were high and strong. And the defending soldiers shot arrows and set traps. The Mongol soldiers suffered man losses. Genghis Khan came up with a wicked idea: use civilians as human shields. They captured people from nearby villages and forced men, women, the elderly, and the children to the front lines. When the defending soldiers lost, they saw their own people standing in front. Some were even their relatives and friends. How could they possibly shoot their arrows? Even worse, during the siege, they forced the civilians to push siege engines forward, letting them be scalded by hot oil and shot by arrows. This tactic was extremely cruel. Genghis Khan used it many times. As long as he could win, he didn't care about the lives of civilians. In 1214, Genghis Khan led his army to besiege the Jin dynasty's capital, Zhongbu, present-day Beijing. The Jin emperor pretended to surrender. As soon as the Mongols left, he secretly fled to Kaifeng to prepare for revenge. When Genghis Khan found out, he was furious. The next year, he returned with a large army. They destroyed all the crops outside the city, and they cut off the supply routes. The people in the city had no more food, and they were so hungry they resorted to cannibalism. After the city fell, the Mongol soldiers killed everyone they saw, and they looted all the valuables. It is said that 60,000 women committed suicide rather than be captured. The entire city of Beijing was burned to the ground. The stench of the corpses was so bad that even the Mongol soldiers couldn't stand it and laughed. Such a tragic event only ranks fourth among his evil deeds. In 1221, Genghis Khan sent his son to attack the city of Merv. This was a bustling metropolis, home to over 1 million people. When the people of the city heard the Mongols were coming, they resisted desperately for 7 days. In the end, they surrendered, hoping to survive. Who would have thought that after entering the city, the Mongols drove all the people out, and they slaughtered them in batches, sparing only the artisans and the young women. Killing people wasn't enough for them. They burned the entire city to the ground, even destroying wells and the irrigation canals, turning the place into a wasteland. If you go there now, you will only see a pile of rubble. At the end of 1220, Genghis Khan sent his son-in-law, Tokucha, to attack the city of Nishapur. The city had already surrendered, but upon hearing that other cities were resisting, it also went back on its word. During the battle, Tokuchar was shot and killed by someone from the city. Genghis Khan and his daughter were enraged. They immediately sent Tolui, the son who had previously massacred Merv, to seek revenge. Tolui's army breached the city in a few days, and he began to carry out the extermination of every living thing in the city, including people, livestock, cats, and the dogs, was slaughtered. Only a few hundred artisans were spared as slaves. The Mongols piled the severed heads into 2 small hills. one for men, and one for women and children. It is said that rivers of blood flowed, and the entire city was turned into ruins. However, the place was later rebuilt, and now belongs to Iran. Have you heard of the Tangut people? Almost no more one knows about them now, because Genghis Khan wiped them out. The Tangut people originally lived in northwest China, and even established the Western Xia Kingdom in the 11th century. In 1226, as Genghis Khan was dying, he was still obsessed with destroying the Tanguts. He personally led his army to attack Western Xia, destroying their cities one by one. The Tangut king was scared to death. The new king wanted to surrender, but the Mongols made him wait outside their tent for 3 days, and then killed him anyway. The Mongols not only killed people, but also burned the Tanguts' historical records, destroyed their buildings, and forbade the use of the Tangut script. The survivors were scattered across different regions, and gradually assimilated. Historians say this was possibly the world's first recorded genocide.